Fuck that.
Welcome to Sage Against the Machine. My name's Joshua. I'm here with
Isaac.
Yes, and it's 9:00 our time.
This is a late show.
Yeah, it's a late night show.
This is the only time we could align our schedules.
Sage Against the Machine after dark.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
They should put it on HBO.
Yes.
Never mind. I see him doing it again.
Yeah, we'll talk about. Hey, what's in the news today?
Res news or just in general?
Well, there's the Diddy news. The memes are flying and they're hot.
Dude, I can't even. My wife, she's getting so upset. Like, none of this is proven yet, and I'm like, okay, true, but it's pretty fucking hilarious to like talk about. Well, I don't know about hilarious, but
Yeah.
Some of the
victims.
The memes are funny.
Yeah.
Some of the memes are funny. I don't know.
Turns out you give someone lots of money, they get away with lots of stuff until they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes you wonder about what the untouchable people do.
Yeah, I mean, you get to the like, you know what? I didn't know that this was really a thing, but apparently there are some people who they don't even show up on the the most wealthy,
like the Saudi royals.
Yeah, the Saudis or the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually a thing, and I didn't really believe that before, but yeah, that's a real deal. Like, they'd look at Elon Musk and say, "You ain't shit. You don't have anything."
Yeah.
And then I guess too, you ever heard of Ryan Grimm?
No.
He's a reporter, and a good reporter mostly, but he does a show for Breaking Points called Counterpoints with Emily, and I really like that show. But anyway, he said he was in Doha covering something, and he said that they pave roads with the granite that super rich people like put in their house. He said literally they pave roads.
Wow.
With it. Yeah, that's fucking wild.
Is it just to be rich? Like,
I guess that's what I mean. He said it just totally shows you the difference between, we're this rich, like the extremely wealthy, and then everybody else.
Do you think it just makes them the most decadent people in the world?
Kind of. I mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I kind of look at cobblestone roads and shit. That's snooty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. After some point, like, what hole are you filling there, bud?
Yeah. I mean, what is the point?
I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I have a feeling you look at this the same way I do. I'd give most of it away.
Yeah. It would be more fun to build things.
Yeah,
like
for everybody.
I mean, it must be kind of cool I've seen pictures of the UAE. And
yeah.
It's like, it must be pretty cool to be the guy that gets to build all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, even you think about that, the engineers and the architects and all that kind of shit, it's not theirs, but it's got to be cool to build it.
Yeah. I
mean, that shit's pretty dope.
But not just for myself.
No, but that's the thing. Doing it for other people.
Yeah. A palace would be, for what? I just want the tools to build a palace. The fun of building the palace is the fun part.
That's what I was thinking about that too. It would be, if I had that kind of money, I'd buy excavators and bulldozers, all that kind of shit, just so I could fuck around with it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Just like every drug dealer in the res does.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Let's start a work crew.
It's almost like those things hold their value.
Yeah.
You can't put your money in a bank.
And you could legitimately create a money-making business with
I'm
that.
for it. That's fine.
Yeah. I don't really give a fuck.
Start a space program.
Right? I don't even know that the richest people on our res would be able to get close to starting a space program.
Space is expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah. What about a monorail?
Fuck yeah.
You gotta start singing the song.
Monorail. That's all I can. As soon as you said it, that's all I can think of is The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I wonder how many younger people listen to this and have no fucking idea what we're talking about.
I don't know. I think The Simpsons is timeless.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
But the monorail episode, that's got to be 30 years old at this point.
At least.
It's got to be.
Yeah. It's very famous, though.
Because I know I would have been like early teens.
I don't think my children would get the reference.
Probably not.
I'd say monorail. They'd be like, what?
My 18-year-old would never get that. I don't think he's ever watched The Simpsons.
Yeah. But then if I said lubba dubba dub dub, they'd get that.
The fuck is that?
That's Rick and Morty.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Okay. I had a shirt, and it had Pickle Rick on it.
Yeah.
And it was Rick and Morty, and then it had, Pickle Rick on it. And I was wearing it one day, and I was sitting around with Mark and a couple of the other guys, and I didn't realize, but the way that the shirt folded, it looked like it said Pickle Dick. And so I was.
And the old guys didn't know?
No, they spotted it right away, and of course said nothing.
Yeah.
And just kept fucking blasting me. And then finally I realized what the fuck was going on. So I didn't wear that shirt around them anymore. It was a fucking awesome shirt, though. Fucking Pickle Dick. What assholes.
That's funny.
It was pretty funny, though, I got to say. I mean, I would have done the same thing.
Right.
Hey, Pickle Dick.
So we got Diddy in the news.
Better than a gherkin.
The Outlaws did their live 200th episode.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. Mostly I saw William talking into his phone, telling people to get on the live stream.
That was all fun to edit out.
Yeah. Oh, it was?
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. I just sat there and click, 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 click.
See, I thought it was fun. I don't know, but I haven't watched the whole thing yet.
The live version. The live version will exist.
Yeah.
We're new at this.
Yeah. Well, that's what you and I got to do it eventually.
Eventually, yeah. When we have a Patreon and a Substack and all the other things.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of that, I have notes from my wife.
All right.
Stuff. Yeah. So we can go over that.
That's behind the curtain, boys.
Yes, exactly. We're making an actual effort to do this more regularly because everybody loves us. We have fans who reach out to us.
I had a fan reach out to us and appreciates what we do. Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was going to get Mark David Chapman down in front of Walmart, but that was interesting. Yeah.
Keep talking. I'm looking for it. I'm not.
Yeah, was that? No, it was just.
I'm not yet quit with that.
I'll tell everybody what happened. So I'm going into Walmart after court, by the way, for the bullshit case that is against me.
How did that go?
It was interesting. I basically, it got pushed back again, about a month. I'm waiting for some more discovery to come in because apparently there's video that the district attorney never bothered to send to me. So kind of hard for me to defend myself when.
Yeah, they're like supposed to do that, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to do that. But never. They sent a original discovery packet, which I have that and reviewed it, and but I never got to see the videos, so that'll be interesting. Hopefully it'll make the story that I get to write after this is all over even funnier. But so anyway, so I get out of court and I'm going to Walmart for some stuff, and this guy who is clearly non-native, and he goes, "Are you Isaac?" And I stop for a second and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I thought maybe some of my enemies have finally coordinated the final attack on me to unalive me. And I take you out. Yeah, I was like, oh shit. And that was a joke, everybody. I didn't really think he was going to do that. He had his little kid with him. But he did say, "Are you Isaac?" And I kind of was taken aback. And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You do that show with Josh." I said, "Sage Against the Machine." I said, "You watch that?" And he said, "Yeah." And he was like, "I love your show. I just discovered it a few days ago, but I've been watching it. I said, "All right, man, that's pretty cool." Talked to him for about 5 minutes, and then I big timed him and walked in the store. But it was kind of
a fan. Yeah, shout out to your fan,
Ricky.
Ricky, shout out to Ricky.
Yep.
Shout out to Lisa too, Lisa Fazio. She says, "This is so funny and so refreshing to listen to. Funny and real." She'll actually be up here for an herb conference in October.
Nice.
We have mutual friends.
No shit.
Yeah, and I asked her what it's like to listen to from the outside, because I wonder what happens. Somebody with zero context.
Me too.
Comes across this and for whatever reason gives it a click, and what the hell?
What'd she say?
She said it sounds like a mix of solid knowledge about how things are, like facts, with situated perspective and humor, and definitely challenges fixed views.
Beauty.
Yeah, so shout out. That's awesome. Oh, and her friend said it was just like a breath of fresh air.
Really?
Yes,
That is nice.
it is.
Because Josh always says this, in any of the promos or whatever that we do, but it's very niche, and it is, and we do talk about broader issues at times, but the impetus for the show was to talk about Akwesasne and the issues that we have that don't get discussed widely. So it's nice to hear something like that from people who have no clue about res politics, any of that.
Yeah.
Like it's I dig that. It's pretty cool.
Makes me wonder what goes on other reses.
Me too.
And if they have any crazy people who are willing to just say, people will say whatever on Facebook, but they're kind of mean about it.
I do. You know what? I've been working with some guys from Oneida's from the Thames.
Okay.
And they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like them. And I wonder if they would want to come on just because they're pretty wild. Actually, you know what? Some of those guys would be more suited for the Outlaws.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
They would have a ball with you guys.
Yeah.
And I think they would. They're good guys though.
That's awesome. Shout out to London.
Yep.
Hey, do they have a name for the res that's not like London or Night on the Thames?
I don't know.
Like how we have Akwesasne.
I'll ask.
Or are we just extra?
You know what? I could message one of them right now.
All right.
Hold on, let me do it. You talk.
He's taking a weird picture. He's taking his pants. What are you doing, buddy?
Hey.
Keep the Pickle Rick back.
Hey. How dare you?
Yeah. So since the last time we met, it was kind of funny because I released the podcast. We talked about it before the election, but I released it after, which in hindsight, it was like
redundant.
Not the way to do it because the people listening already knew the answer. So MCA's had election part 2, and we have a new slate of band counselors. Some are from my generation.
Yes,
which is weird.
It is. It is in a way when you think about it.
But I'm just old.
Well, that's the thing is, we actually my wife was saying something. She said, now I know a lot of. She said she works with a lot of guys who are around our age, and she said. I get the clear bill now that I'm not just an idiot who acts like a 12-year-old. Apparently, a lot of guys in their 40s still do. So, but it is a little bit of a bug out to hear, not that I don't think they're suited for it, but it is so. It's a bit of a reality check that Scott and Leonard and people that are around.
Yeah, a couple of your
age.
Picks made it in.
Yeah, I called it, man. I called it.
I mean, I was a fan. I'm just a fan to see something different.
Me too.
To me, the issues, the systemic issues will always be there until you burn the system to the ground. Yeah, it is what it is. We need a clinic and someone needs to plow the road. So
yeah, and as you all know, I am not a fan of burning it all to the ground. I do think, though, the institution could do with a bit of a flush.
Yeah.
And I do think that, Scott and Leonard and Tisha and then some of the others from the other districts, I think that's, I do think that's a possibility now. Mm-hmm. Gives me hope, whereas normally I'm a fucking cynical curmudgeon. So,
yeah.
Bonus for my family.
Well, I want to hear, I would like to know from the inside, because I've heard of systemic problems, because I don't need their services. I don't, it's kind of in the background. I just know people who are unhappy, and I see things that could be better.
Sure.
I've heard the words, I never thought of that too many times.
Right.
That, I was talking to someone earlier about that, I don't think, I'm that special or anything. And
right.
So when I talk about something and someone who's paid to think about it never has.
Right.
That's weird.
It is weird.
It's disconcerting.
How often does that happen?
Often.
Right. I only asked because I think I knew the answer.
Yeah.
Because, you've done that. Like, you've had that kind of effect on me before, and we think about these kind of things. That's what we do on this show. And you've said a bunch of shit that I'm like, I hadn't thought of it.
Yeah, and
that way
I
before.
don't think I'm that clever. So like,
I don't think I'm all that clever either.
like even we went live the other day. I didn't think to check if it was working on YouTube. One of the other guys did.
This is who takes care of all that kind of stuff, folks.
Yeah, yeah. So,
But it's I actually, did you ever hear of Misha Menzer?
I have. He was a
Okay.
lawyer for the Mohawk Council.
When I worked at Nation Building for a while there on contract, the first time I met him, I don't know, there was something going on with his computer and his laptop, and I said, well, let me take a look at it. And he looked at me and he goes, oh, are you really smart? And I said, no. And he just laughed, and I was like, well, I'm not claiming to be particularly intelligent. I can go through a punch list of a few things to try to think of with technology. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just, people like to listen to us for some reason, but I'm not saying you're not intelligent or anything, but I never feel like I'm anything special. And that's kind of that's the way that you and I have always talked about ourselves. So
yeah. And the bummer is when
we're just willing to do it.
When the people who are, they're paid to think about this all day. They're not just a guy with ADHD who like takes an interest in everything. Like they're
Yep.
people who know how to focus.
Yep.
And maybe that's the problem.
I
don't know.
but I mean, also, I mean, it's the same with me. Like, I'm just a big Sasquatch who fucking, I like to think about these things and then potentially come up with a different idea.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't always make them happen.
No,
I don't have the resources.
there's no way.
I want to see them happen.
That's why, I mean, I don't know that we've actually ever done this before, but I mean, honestly, I think every show we should be making a call to
Yeah.
the people who are from Akwesasne who listen to us, like, join up with us, do something, because us two just standing there yelling into the void isn't going to do anything.
Maybe it will.
Maybe.
The
I don't
end
know.
is nigh.
Well,
The sky is falling.
now I'm thinking about the Hobbit
Yeah.
picture out there. It's like Mount Doom. it's Frodo and Jesus Christ, Sam.
Samwise, of the Gamgee.
We're just doing it. We're going up
Yeah.
that mountain. We're gonna make it eventually.
Tolkien hated allegory, but the One Ring is a great allegory for power.
That's
Right?
kind of
All you can do with the power is throw it away.
Yep.
The power of the dominant power.
It's the only way to even get close to a society where things are collectivistic, I guess, or fair,
Functional.
functional in a way that's fair to everybody,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not, and like we always say, Akwesasne is a microcosm of that larger world, and we have our own people who are doing this shit to us. So there you go.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's just different perspectives.
Yep.
But, there's a whole nation there where they can have the outside perspective. There's only a little patch where we can have this perspective or develop our own.
And how many times, how many times do you get to see people who actually will speak up about that perspective?
Yeah. And how many people are scared to speak up? And that's what bothers. That one bothers me, that there's a lot of people who are afraid. And I'm wondering what's this fear all about?
Well, what do you think it is about?
Yeah.
I mean, that's seriously, is it, potential repercussions because they work for them?
Yeah.
What?
Or they have services from them and they don't want to get blackballed.
Sure.
Does that happen? And how does that happen?
Personally, you must believe that happens, right?
Well, I believe it happens with employment.
Yes. For sure.
I've heard of it happening with services. More on the Canadian side, the stories I know of.
Okay.
I believe that can happen.
Like really detrimental denial of services?
Yeah. Like you can't get welfare and stuff.
And for, like, what did these people who were telling you this claim was the reason that they...
Something to do with the police.
Okay.
Yeah. Something to do with an incident.
Yeah.
That they challenged.
Yeah, I'm not asking to...
Yeah.
I don't want details.
Yeah, I can't really talk about it because it's not really my story.
Yeah. No. I understand. It's just the generalities of it that, kind of piques my curiosity.
But I've heard more than one of those.
Yeah.
So
And I've heard a couple of stories about bullying of people, threatening them with things that they didn't do but would look bad if it even got discussed.
Yeah, that's why I'm a fan of bringing back dueling.
Hey, man, bring it.
Yeah. I think if you can have fisticuffs.
Yeah, but okay. So you know how dueling used to work, right? You could have a champion essentially stand in for. Would you be okay with that?
I think so.
Okay.
Put it in the God's hands.
So what would be the...
I've been listening to lots of Game of Thrones, by the way.
I was going to say, where the fuck is this coming from? What's the guy, Pedro Pascal, what the hell is the name of the guy he played in there?
He played the Oberon Montel.
Oberon. So you'd have the mountain come in and be your champion?
Yeah.
Well, what modes... Okay, so if we went back to having straight up duels, what would be the modes of battle that you would want?
Oh, I like swords at dawn.
Okay. What other ones?
Wrestling. Yeah.
No guns?
I mean, it's kind of fun, but they have to be the old guns.
Okay.
They can't be
like the musket in your hand?
Yeah, you can't just turn with your AR and just let them have it. There's too much collateral damage. You need like a single shot firearm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
That takes a minute to reload.
About knives?
Knives are always acceptable.
Okay.
Maces, clubs.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about biohazards?
No.
They can't throw shit at each other?
I mean, that's just good fun.
This is turning into a German podcast. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, it's horrible.
There's no trains here.
Oh, man. The Autobahn is littered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That would be kind of cool, actually.
Well, in a way, we do have the champion. Isn't that what the idea? We pretend that there's no violence in society, but lawyers are the most violent people on this green earth.
See, you got to go there again.
It's the truth, though.
Why does it?
But they don't do their own violence. They have, and this is the system. This is the iron club beneath the system. It's all based on that there's a violent core somewhere. Some people have this legitimate use of violence.
Well, everybody does have a violent core.
Yeah. And then,
well, not everybody.
Then we complain about monopolies. Well, we give the life and death to a monopoly. And we wonder why there's abuses constantly. Like they just put a guy to death in Missouri when they had evidence that he didn't do it, but he was the wrong color. So
yeah.
I
can't remember his Muslim name.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
I know Marcellus Williams, but I can't remember his Muslim name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. When you say the life and death stuff, are you talking only about the criminal justice system, or do you mean the healthcare system too? Because in my view, the healthcare system, that's life and death too, and they have control over
There's that too, but that's like still up to chance.
Okay.
This isn't individuals enforcing onto other individuals.
Right.
Believing that they are infallible. Which they'll say they don't believe that, but if you go to a court of law, someone's word gets believed immediately and someone's doesn't.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, I don't know if I've talked about it much, but I used to work at the tribal court for 5 years, and PJ Hearn, who was a guest on here, he was the chief judge at the time. He's an attorney and a good attorney. He's a very good man.
He's not going in front of the ditch?
No, definitely not. But, well, PJ.
Yeah, he's cool.
But yeah, I mean, I do understand, and it does seem like sometimes that when you and I speak, privately off the air, that I'm always defending lawyers and it's not that believe me, I know that there are horrible, horrible attorneys out there. I just happen to have gotten lucky and worked with ones who, I mean, granted, I don't really know much about their personal lives or anything. Perhaps that they were defending Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know. But they're friends with Alan Dershowitz. Holy fuck. And that guy, what is wrong with him? He is fucking, what a weirdo. I don't know. I'm just getting off on a rant there. But yeah, I mean, I do. I totally understand what you're saying because it does happen. People, there are times, a lot of times, when people walk into that courtroom, and you're right, somebody ends up being believed at the end of the day and someone doesn't. How you get there, that can be the big mess of it.
Yeah, so dueling just makes people more accountable. Like they don't get to hide behind this is my job.
Yep.
And I'm real tired of that mentality, especially
Yes.
in our political area, in all of our service around here. A lot of people hide behind and I try not to do that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, like at the radio, I'm just lazy and I don't want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not my job, somebody, or not do it just because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Not for any good reason.
And you had that happen recently, right? We don't need to talk about details, but
I don't recall.
somebody was upset with something that you read on the news about a local situation.
Yeah. Somebody was upset about something that happened, and I get why they were upset.
So do I.
But it also, they were projecting their grief where it doesn't belong.
And that's what, like I'm saying, I don't want to go into details because I totally understand. It was just relevant to the current discussion that we're having.
Yeah.
Because us here, we're essentially, we're making our own decisions about what we're saying and what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But when you're reading the news for the radio station,
Right.
You're just relaying
messages. Just the facts,
all.
ma'am. I just want the facts. I don't even want to have an opinion about it.
Yeah. When you're doing that, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, me writing for the paper, I do that to the, sometimes any journalist who would tell you differently that that none of their, and it's the same thing for lawyers. You go into that courtroom and you look at the judge and everybody thinks, well, the judge is totally unbiased and there's no way that they would bring any of their personal thoughts into this. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
They're humans.
Well, yeah, that's why don't go to court before lunch.
Yeah. For real. Yeah. Go when they're sleepy.
Yeah.
Go when they're full. I mean, this is some real shit. Like, you think that someone who is, you think that a judge who, when they were in private practice, they were defending, they were looking out for the best interest of, victims of sexual assault. Do you think if they're on that bench and they see a man come in accused of, a sex crime against a woman, that they're not going to automatically have a taint?
Yeah.
Of course they are. And I understand that. But for us to deny that those things are not even like certainly happening, but are reasonable to think that it could happen is absurd. That's absurd.
This is why AI is going to make so many things better.
Yeah, I mean,
they'll have a catalog of human emotions and cues and all of that, and you'll just hook up to a monitor and it will know. It will know.
I mean, you know what? It's funny that you were two attorneys, PJ being one of them, and the other one I won't mention a name just because I'm not getting their permission to do that. But it was interesting to hear their takes on AI. And PJ, on the one hand, he was kind of like one of the lawyers who's saying, uh-oh, but he's old now, so I got you, PJ. But he's older, he's in his 50s. So, his career prospects are going to be fine. And as is this other attorney who is also, a little older. But they were pointing out that you still need somebody to go into court. Okay, that's fine. That's true. But all of the work that goes up into actually appearing in court, at some point that'll be able to be done by AI.
It's already, the paid AI is already there.
Yeah, I mean,
like all the paperwork and all the research.
Like paralegals, they're going to be totally unnecessary.
They're just going to be button pushers.
Yeah, it's going to be, okay, here you go, AI. Here's some facts that we got in our file, and give me a fucking, give me a memorandum.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've already done that for things like character references, just to build the bones of it.
Sure.
And like when I've written proposals, I've used it as a copy editor to open ChatGPT, say this 5 different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I'll just feed it something I already wrote, and it'll give me variations that might be better than my own because it's got an instant dictionary and I don't.
Yeah, and that's and like what I, even as a journalist myself, I'll use it to edit like Grammarly and stuff like that. I don't need it, like you don't need a human anymore,
right,
to go through and check your punctuation, grammar. You don't need that.
The AI is better because it's not just a spell check.
Exactly,
it gets the context that you're speaking in.
And I have asked it before if my writing is biased. I've asked it that before, and it told me areas where it looked a little.
ChatGPT, is this boring?
Well, yeah, I've actually done that before too, because I am writing a. I've been doing this for a while. I actually am writing a movie script, and I'll ask it because that's another thing. Any writer will tell you they get insecure about what they've written.
Yeah.
They just do. You think everything you write is shit, and you never believe when people tell you that what you've written is good. Mm-hmm. I mean, not to the level I do, I think, because like I just hate myself. So
you gotta practice some self-love there, bud.
But you and I talked about this actually. Is like, OpenAI, ChatGPT told me, no, what you've written is good and it's very engaging and interesting and all that. So I take the word of that fucking robot over me or over anybody else.
Yeah,
because it's just cold and factual.
So we got some new chiefs in office or band counselors. I don't like the term chief.
I don't either because it's not
lame.
Even in Gainongoa, it's not chief. It's Leon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
even the idea of like they love to write the leadership.
Yes.
Some dork told them to do that. It sounds so
probably a lawyer.
Probably either a lawyer or like a PR guy. I think I know which PR guy.
I think I know
because I remember he was their PR guy when they started doing that.
Shorter guy?
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, I think
he probably listens.
Yeah, probably. And if it's the same guy that I'm thinking of, good guy.
But they take themselves way too seriously, and the leadership.
Yeah.
Especially when you get to like national level, like AFN and
oh god,
like, shut up, you bunch of corrupt
Ontario Chiefs,
and
shit like that. Yeah, and then like on the American side, the like NARF and whatever.
It's all these agencies that exist just to fund themselves
and to give themselves awards.
Yeah.
Look at us.
We're
impressive Indians.
There's a lot of nonprofits out there that exist just to have administration.
Fucking right.
And they just burn money.
That's it. And they say it's a nonprofit. Well, how much do you pay your board? How much do you pay the guy who's running this fucking thing? I mean, it's a joke.
So we have a new slate of band counselors.
Yep.
We think they'll do some things.
I hope they will. I think that they will. I do. I really did. I know Scott. Yeah. And I know 100% that he's serious about actually doing things, making things better, looking for that change. And I know, I guess Leonard better than I, but I did get to speak with Leonard at length when I emceed essentially the first set before the fucked up election. I did the Meet the Candidates night.
Hey, it worked out for him though.
It did. Well, that's the thing. I'm super happy that Leonard won. And, I did. I got to speak with him at length after one of those events, and totally seems absolutely 100% genuine. I like his approach to things. He's data driven, numbers driven, and there has to be humanity in there too. But I think he understands that there's a balance. So you're not fully making decisions purely upon emotion or your own personal perspectives, but you're looking at the data.
Right.
So drive those.
As long as your data's good.
Well, I think that he knows how to get the good data too.
Yeah,
how to change up where there may be problems.
Yeah. It depends on what where and what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's easier to fix roads than it is to fix organizations.
Yeah. I think though, I think he'll know. I think he knows where to look though. I do. I think he knows where to look. And I think that people like Scott and Tisha and, some of the other ones and newer ones, the ones that we're kind of a little bit shocked to see who are around our age that are now in those positions. But it's interesting to see this happening. And I think, and we talked about this before before we started recording, but my hope is that, and actually I need to get in touch with a couple of people, get the status of the land claim settlement where we're at right now. But, if we're still not finalized and nobody's signed, I really, really want to talk with Scott and Leonard and whoever else is willing to see if MCA will now, with new leadership, do whatever they can to pull out of that settlement, or at least initiate a new referendum that isn't 20 fucking years old to let younger people who didn't have a chance to say whether or not they want to sign on to it.
Yeah, that'd be
at minimum. That's what should happen.
Right.
You know,
I'd like to see, like, as a guy who doesn't have time to collect news, I'd like to see people collect the news, because I don't have an answer for that. I don't know where it's at. I don't know how to describe their problems, other than I see a lot of unhappy people and things that seem to. No one's picking up the phone when you're calling places a lot of times. No one's the left nut doesn't seem to know what the right nut's doing.
It kind of, yeah. I mean, it kind of seems. I mean, I know that obviously I'm biased, but when you say call to pick up the phone or where do we even learn about this shit, obviously Indian Time is just, basically, I'm not even writing right now for them.
Yeah.
And,
we don't have any independent journalism.
No. But one thing that did.
We'd like to invite them here.
We would.
If you're an independent journalist.
I think I'm the only one.
Yeah.
And we already got me.
If you're a nerd who likes to dig around.
But if you are, then yes, please let us know, because I feel pretty lonely out in the world, and I'm not even doing journalism right now because I'm working 12-hour shifts at night.
This guy's security, man, they're so screwed. He can't run at all.
I don't need to run.
He's going to be, hey, stop stealing.
Quit it. I see you.
I'm going to call the cops. Oh, shit, I can't.
And then it's that guy running away going, fuck you. as he goes as a silhouette into the horizon. But yeah, but I think, we do need that. And one thing that kind of gave me hope during those initial Meet the Candidates nights was that pretty much all of them had made vocal commitments to wanting to help Indian Time keep going. One of the things, though, that I've talked about with a lot of people is that the kind of news that you're talking about, that requires more resources, because you need, to really do investigative stuff, you need time. You need time. When I did that my first act of journalism on the transfer station bullshit, when I did that, I did it in 6 days, but I also did it in like 100 hours.
Right.
I mean, I was literally barely sleeping and just working on that. And like a story like that would probably usually take most people about a month. But me, I did it in a week, and it was tight. But believe me, there is more there that I was not able to write about because I didn't have the resources to keep going to track that shit down. There's more there. I know there's more laying there that even now I could probably pick it up if I had the resources and really ruin a lot of people's fucking day. I'm serious.
Well, I think we need more independent, if you're getting funded by one of the local entities, you're going to be biased.
Absolutely.
Just on the hand of it, because you don't want to lose your funding.
For sure.
So, and that's when you have someone friendly against you. What happens to the next election when you have someone unfriendly to you?
Yep.
Someone who likes. Guess what? People are corruptible, and the corruptible tend to be attracted to powerful positions.
Yeah.
Or places where they got to see. They tend to be.
It's where the money is.
You find the psychopaths higher in the chain, not lower.
Definitely. You don't get to. I mean, honestly, you think about it. How do you get to any? Okay. I won't call you and I. I'm not going to say that we have super high egos or anything, but most of the people who run for office like that, they do have,
they tend to be extroverted as well.
Yes, and they want those things, you know what I mean? And they're willing to, people who seek out power, that's usually not a good thing.
Well, that's how in traditional ways, people who want to be chief should
never
not be allowed to ever.
Never. And that's why the women would watch them, and that's, you know what I mean?
I'm sure there was no corruption in that system at all.
I mean, of course there was, but I mean,
there was never any politicking.
Well, let's not do, you know what I mean? Like, and and this isn't to trap, but let's not portray our old ways of being completely incorruptible, and because there are people in Akwesasne who will do that.
They're just riding around in their stone canoes, man.
Yeah, they were. They were. That's yes, and it was all good. Nobody was a bad person. Once they combed out the hair, the snakes, that was fine. Nothing bad ever.
Let's just ask our neighbors what they think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jesus Christ, give me a fucking break. But I'm not saying that Guy Lagoa isn't the best. You know what I mean? But every system is corruptible in some way.
Yeah,
every system.
So it's almost like you have to design for that.
That's what I mean. What do they call those? Like a bilge? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every bolt, whatever. You got to have some kind of release valve on it.
Well, in the Guy Lagoa, your release valve is your pine tree chiefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your warriors and your outspoken people who will raise shit or just not listen to you.
Well, but yes, and that's the reason why everybody has a voice.
Also makes you really. It's probably how white people conquered, because a disciplined army will almost always crush an undisciplined army.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think that could be in doubt, right?
Europeans are good at violence.
They sure are, because they're systematic.
Yeah.
Psychopaths.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. All right. Yes, white people. I know that I am half white. I get that, but I'm just generalizing for effect here.
Well, I mean, it was done to them too.
It was. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing too, is
the Romans crushed the Brits.
Yeah.
Like bad.
The Germans.
Yeah.
What did they call the Germans back then?
Teutons or the Goths?
Was it Teutons the French, or was that?
No, they were the French were the Gauls.
Okay.
The Germans were the Teutons and the Goths. You had the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths.
Okay. I always see that's out of my wheelhouse.
Well, think about it. We like to watch Game of Thrones, but this stuff actually happened.
Yeah.
So it should be. We should make historical stuff more interesting.
Are you telling me there was no fucking dragons? God damn it! You're killing me here.
I know, right?
You're telling me that Arthur wasn't real?
How many people watched Game of Thrones? This is like history.
Probably too many to be fucking proud of. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty bad.
So how would you advise the new chiefs to go about revamping their system? What would be a place to start? Because you got to identify the problems first, right?
Yep.
And not just oh, I hate this director because they're a jerk off.
Yep.
But why, what's the systemic reasons? Because they have some issues that have been there for, my mother used to work there 30 years ago, and they still have some of the same issues.
I'm not surprised. I mean, that's one of the first things that I would fix is people talk about, like the deep state. And I do believe in a deep state because, there's too much, especially when we're talking about the federal government. But in terms of MCA and the tribe, there is a bureaucratic mass there who...
Those people who get the awards will be in there for 30 years.
Exactly. And it's essentially they are the ones who are really running things. And I'm not saying that everybody on the council should just, bang their fist on the table and order everything around. But there needs to be a reeling in of that administrative state.
Well, the Soviet Union always called between councils.
Mm-hmm.
They did it in a bad way.
Now you are going in the ditch.
But the U.S. government does that. The cabinet.
Sure.
They flesh out the old administrators.
But then essentially it ends up being people of the same mind because it all keeps continuing in the same manner, essentially.
Well, that's a cesspool. What are you going to do?
Right. Well, that's the thing. We have some cess.
Yeah.
Is that a word for?
Yeah.
But I think everybody knows what I mean. But yeah, we have that same stuff that goes on at MCA and at the tribe.
Yeah.
So.
Because ultimately the people just want their houses and they want.
And that's fine.
They want
people want normalcy. They want routine.
They want something done about their kids, whether it's activities or a slap on the hand. They want. They complain about drug dealing, but I think what they're actually complaining about is the stuff that goes around with users and illicit things. It's not the actual. Such as the party houses where kids end up going, or the crime. The stealing, the theft, the petty theft, the vandalism.
Of course.
Just the general dirtiness of it. The people that, don't seem to have very many morals to.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
It will hurt. Yeah, it will hurt others.
Yeah.
And So that's really the effects. Those effects people want cleaned up, rather than caring. I think the moral,
the actual using.
yeah. I mean, I think the moral case is just because they've been programmed to say this is bad and that's good. And
Absolutely.
When we all know alcohol is the worst of them all.
Yeah.
I mean,
You and I came up in, we were little kids in the 80s and, teenagers in the 90s. I clearly remember this is your brain. This is your brain.
Yeah.
Like, that shit actually worked, like for some people. And then others were like, I wonder why they're freaking out like that.
Yeah.
And then you talk to your older cousin and they're like, oh, no, weed is pretty fucking cool. Here, you want to try it?
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, it is
The
pretty fucking
CIA
cool.
sold LSD and almost destroyed the state.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? So it's like, to me, I think you and I agree. I believe all drugs should be legal.
Yeah, I think you have supremacy over your body.
You do.
If you want to kill yourself, kill yourself. It's not like,
Look at me.
yeah,
Look at how fat I am.
give this man some heroin so he can lose some weight.
Exactly. Come on, man. Give me some clean shit.
Yeah, I think prohibition creates worse problems than
Well, what it really does too is create those industries
yeah
of life and death.
and it makes it creates the weird profit margins.
Yeah.
And the weed industry is finding that legal profit margins suck ass.
Yep. Oh shit.
It's really easy to produce lots of great weed.
I got to run this like a real business and understand what margins are and how to actually handle a staff of employees. Oh shit, this isn't as easy as getting a bag dropped off on the shore and then turning it around to a bunch of white guys in fucking southern New York.
Yeah. This stuff's as easy to grow as a bunch of good tomatoes.
Yeah.
So,
It is.
It is. It's basically the same as growing tomatoes.
I've grown like, I didn't grow this year, but I think I'd grown like 4 years in a row. And believe me, I know guys who, my stuff is not anywhere near as good as what you're going to find from a lot of these other guys. Not even close.
Yeah.
But I did grow some stuff that was, favorably looked upon.
I grew fine stuff.
And I just followed directions of the guys who I know who grew for years.
Yeah, I grew fine stuff out in that field. I forgot I had plants. I looked over and there were giant plants. And I said, "Oh man, I got to weed those."
Yeah.
And it
and it's weed.
Yeah, and it came out just fine. So, that industry is finding out. Everyone complains about the number of dispensaries. It'll thin itself out eventually.
Yeah, it will.
And in the meantime, hey, if it's your business, find your niche in there. Like, don't hate.
Yeah, that's
like join in, or
well, let's be real too. It's
people with master's degrees pissed off that the idiot from high school now has a Mercedes.
Yes. Well, hey man, I saw this joke and it was like kind of a running little thing, I guess, but about people in their 40s and shit having a midlife crisis and going to grad school. And I was like, fuck, that's what I'm about to do too. Because I'm going to get my master's. And so I think law school, I'm going to be too fucking old to, I don't think law school is like feasible at this. But plus, dude, Chat GPT and fucking all this other shit. Fuck that. But a master's degree could be helpful.
I consider going back to school for psychology because I'm good at it. But I already do all the things. I just don't have any training or
don't have the accreditation.
I just don't have the accreditation and stuff. And I have most of the skills.
I've seen people who are total psychopaths be able to manipulate tons of people.
Yeah.
without a degree.
Yeah. Well, even just to like helping people, it's.
Yeah.
I already have most of the. I already do. Like, I don't do it, but I.
You teach mindfulness.
Yeah. But I could get paid a lot more if
you had the paper.
If I had a master's in clinical psychology.
If you had the sheepskin.
Yeah.
But
if I was anointed by the group of guys that made stuff up.
That's all. Academia is a bunch of bullshit too, kind of. But whatever. Oh yeah. So I'll finish I was just gonna say regarding like the changes and stuff, how to do it. That morass that is the administrative state for MCA. I think that people like Scott understand what goes on there because they got run through the ringer.
Yeah.
So they understand that, the idea of these program managers and their little group of friends, essentially dictating how everything is going to go there in the manner that they do it, that's got to be changed, because you can't. They all have these little fiefdoms, and that's got to stop. There has to be an end to that.
I'd get rid of any unionized public service over there.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's only really it's health and the cops, right?
The cops and the social workers.
I thought it was healthcare too.
Is it the healthcare?
I don't know for sure. I forget.
I could be just because it makes it harder
To get rid of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that I don't think especially police, they're not labor.
Yeah.
They're part of the state.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have negotiating power against the people when you work for the state.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that's how I feel about public service unions. I think you work for the state, therefore you should not have the ability to, if we have to outsource our janitorial stuff and that's unionized, but they don't work directly for the state, you could probably do that. But I think it's reflected in society. Like public service is usually where it cocks up everything when they go on strike.
Right. Yeah, because
and the also is the people don't have the option of not paying it. Like I have the option of hiring scabs.
Right.
I have the option of hiring non-union labor.
Mm-hmm.
I have the option of buying a different car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the option of having a different police, and I don't have the option of having a different education system, really.
Okay, that's fair.
So why are those people given negotiating power over the people?
Boy, you made a pretty good argument there.
I'm fucking great, man.
You're fucking on.
Fucking on fire.
Fucking A guy.
It's just first principles. That's everything. I go down to like basic principles of self-ownership and where power is and how it's distributed.
That's actually because I'm very pro-union.
I am pro-labor union.
Yeah, me too. That's what I mean. But like
steelworkers union.
Yes, these public service. I actually, I'm gonna think on that more. But that actually really, you're kind of fucking pushing me in that direction now.
Yeah.
God damn you.
Well, it's where does the power come
Right.
from, and that's what I'm looking at.
Because if you're serving the public, but your union makes it impossible for the public to check you.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I get it.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You fucking got me again. God damn it.
Yeah. I don't know what to do about like pilot unions. I think they're labor.
They are.
They're drivers.
I think so.
It's an important job to not mess up.
But then are they the air traffic controllers? Are they unionized? They must be.
Yeah,
Right? They have to be.
Yeah. But at what point too is it getting in the way, like or becoming just a monopoly on labor?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And that's where you have to think, because there's only a few unions. It's not like there's hundreds of independent unions.
True.
So it becomes kind of a monopoly on labor itself.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
That is.
If you care about monopolies.
Fucking libertarians. Jesus Christ.
But you have the right to do it too. You have the right to assemble.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
no, I do it because I love the idea of organized labor.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if we can get rid of all these rich assholes. But I mean, that's. I don't want to go down that road.
Well,
again. People think I'm fucking nuts.
Eventually, Robin Hood robs everybody, and then Robin Hood has too much money, and he's the bad guy. Same boss.
He turns into the sheriff. of Underwood or whatever.
Or he, everyone's got the same amount of money, then he gives somebody else one more dollar.
Yeah.
Now they got to steal that dollar. You see where it goes.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did give me something to think about, though. See, now all of you viewers and listeners, think about what Josh said.
Yeah.
And if you work in a public sector union and you're mad, you can come on the show.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to change it.
No, I know. I'm just saying, it's just when I put that thing on Facebook, I mean, that's the thing is, we both know there are people who listen to the show who fucking hate our guts. They're seething as they're listening to us say this shit, but they would never have the guts to come on here and talk it out with us.
Yeah.
Or
they'd say, solve this problem right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a straw man.
And that's it. Right. Exactly. That's the thing. Well, wait a minute. If it was my fucking job to do that, I probably could solve it, or I would at least have different ways of operating and try it,
right.
for them to just sit there and say, well, how would you do it? Like on the spot when it's not, they've never had the opportunity to really do this shit. You want them to come out with a fucking prospectus on, how to alter the course of the administrative states. Like, come on, let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, you got people who point out these ideas and, and they'll have, like, we have some ideas. We put them out there. We don't necessarily have a dozen, but that's because we have other shit to do.
Yeah. I mean, for the current conversation, the first thing is identifying everything and also identifying it independently. That's what journalists could help you with that.
Yes, absolutely.
They could give you an outside perspective. But what they tend to do is hire some consultant for that out. And that consultant, number one, costs a lot of money. And number two
is handpicked.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's not giving you, it's going to tell you what you want to hear or how to make this. I've seen.
You've heard of the consultancy class, right?
Yeah. I sit on some boards and I've seen what happens is, people hire consultants to do things like policies, and they have these more and more and more complicated and complex policies to be less and less flexible. And I get that, but also it's like, no, these people are getting paid by the word too. So they're adding shit. They're adding complexity that might not be necessary. There's a lot of things might be left more up to individuals just making decisions.
Yes.
There's with guides.
Yeah. Sometimes there's, exactly. You don't want everybody to run without guardrails at times. You know what I mean? But you also, you make that shit and it go like, I mean, most of these consultants, a lot of them end up being lawyers. Yeah. And
if they're a lawyer, they should be thrown off a cliff.
Well, that's the thing though, is like they do speak their own language.
I think it's a scam. Yeah. I really think most of law is a scam.
And it can be,
it's like a religion.
PJ always told me, he said, you don't need to make it overly complicated. Like when we're doing something, you think about it and these people who are, parties to these cases, they're regular people. Yeah. They're regular people. So why write something that's overly complicated to confuse them?
Because then it keeps you employed for the rest of your life.
Right. Exactly. And then you think about it on that level and you're like, this is kind of wrong.
It's a total scam.
Yeah.
It's a cult.
You're forcing
They're looking for magic words.
Yeah. these people go into, like I was at court the other day and I'm watching people go in there and they have a traffic ticket or whatever. And it's like, why do you make it so that these people have to have a fucking lawyer to deal with a traffic violation? Like,
why are you even here? We have the internet.
Yeah, come on. It's just, and there are complexities of the law when it comes to criminal prosecutions and all that kind of shit. I get that. But it's just, and that's the reason why, some little guy sues Boeing for, murdering their fucking, allegedly or potentially murdering their father or whoever, or dying in a plane crash. And, they've got they got a horde of lawyers and then you're just this guy.
Yeah. They just bury you in lawyers.
There's they can bury you in the paperwork.
There's a guy named Percy Smizer. He's a farmer and he wouldn't buy the genetically modified soybeans. So the trucks are driving by his house, spilling them because they fall out of the trucks all the time, and it grows in his land. And these companies have genetic police that go around looking for their genes, which got into his stuff. Right. And he got a lawsuit, and he lost his farm, and he lost everything. And how's he? He's like, how's he going to fight it? These are billion-dollar companies, and on the face of it, you're like, this should be simple. They polluted his land. Right. They polluted his land, and now they're trying to sue him for growing their crop. Yep. There's millions of those things.
There are.
So this is, and complex law makes this possible because they create fake things like intellectual property. Yes. Which is a fake idea. It's a manufactured idea. Yep. You cannot, property is something you can hold. Yes. Right? There's no such thing as, this was my idea.
This was my thought and I own it.
Yeah. I own this thought.
I understand when you're talking about, if like my movie script. Yeah. Okay. That's mine, but it's also like, are there any, really are, the way I put it together is my own, but the things that occur in there have happened in countless movies or in real life. Or,
And the moment you share it with anybody, you lose it.
yeah, and
Like, that's part of being human.
holy shit. I had someone who's native who I was interviewing, and they're in that industry, and they told me because I told them I have an idea for a movie and whatever, but they told me be careful what you say about your stories, like your personal stories on like Reddit or whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's motherfuckers out there who are just working for movie studios or whoever, looking for stories to steal.
Oh, absolutely.
And then just claim it as their own.
I've heard of writers from SNL going to comedy clubs.
Me too.
And like that comedian will be watching, and something that they're talking about on stage shows up in the show.
Yep.
And I've heard about
Hear about Larry David and Seinfeld?
Yeah. And then people who, even people like on the res different reses who will, I've heard about someone who was an assistant for somebody, and then something strikingly similar ended up getting made by a different person. So
It's the Indian version of Mencia.
yeah, or copying beadwork.
Yeah. Well,
You ever walk around the Powell? I can make that.
you know what? I've seen too is like artists that they don't want their work photographed and then published
Yeah.
because someone could copy it.
Right.
And I'm like, I get it, but also like you're not going to be able to just keep it.
Yeah.
It's just not possible these days.
Yeah, it's tough, and I don't know the solution for some of that because someone will send a design to China and they'll have 1 million of them made.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my designs to China. I'm not going to bother beating anything.
fucking
I'm just going
flood
to
it.
draw it out and just send it right to China. Let's skip the middleman.
Let's do
I'm
it.
just going to buy it.
We'll fucking flood everybody with Sage Against the Machine shit and outlaw stuff.
Yeah. So we hope people do well and cause a ruckus.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, and I know we're at an hour now, so I won't go on too much more. But yeah, I mean, as far as the elections go, I do want to, and I don't want to presume too much, but I think that Scott watches our show, and
Hope he makes a meme of you.
oh man, I hope it's funny. As long as it's funny.
It'll be you with your mouth wide open and a pickle going in it.
Fuck, man. You know what? That would actually be pretty funny. You're an asshole, though. Fuck you, Josh. I fucking quit this show. You fucking dick. Pickle dick. But yeah, I mean, it's, I would like to be able to get, I would like to get some of the new ones to come on the show. Scott, Leonard, Tisha, some of the others from other districts who are new to the council, because we can talk to them about this stuff, see where they're at with it. You know what I mean? And I think that right now that land claim settlement is breathing down our neck. And again, I haven't been.
If it hasn't already been signed.
Exactly. I haven't been briefed on it. Maybe it is, but I kind of think that would have been pretty big news around the res.
If I were the one, shut the hell up.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing.
If I wanted something done and I didn't want anybody to complain about it, I would just go do it.
Okay.
The next guy to creep up on you at Walmart.
That'll be the real one, right?
They're just gonna put you in a headlock.
They'll hire like the whitest guy so I don't see it coming.
Yeah, just hit you to the knee with a golf club.
Are you Isaac White? Yeah. Blow. Oh shit. You ever saw New Jack City?
Yeah.
In broad daylight. Like, oh fuck. They got me. I don't think they have the capability to do that.
They're bad at that. They're
True.
bad at being in charge.
Yeah, that's true.
I have the capability of doing that.
If you can't get someone unalived and you have millions of dollars that you're, oh, that's bad too. That's bad too.
I don't know about that, but I can have your knees broken.
Yeah. Fuck, anybody could do that.
It's called that one cousin.
I know, right? That one cousin.
I want to make $100.
Give him a case.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
All right.
We know we have white people listening to this.
We're Sage Against the Machine. I'm Joshua.
I'm Isaac.
We're out of here.